Welcome to the Urantia book. I want to thank everybody for your subscriptions and your comments. The channel's really growing, and I appreciate all of that. This is a comment that I would like to respond to because it really sums up a huge debate, I would say, in the spiritual community. And you will see the Urantia book answers this with perfection. So, user Master Sophia Christ, thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate your name. I can tell you're a spiritual person. Master Sophia Christ says, you said, quote, the universe is imperfect and yet it still exists, end quote. That is a lower consciousness perception. The Messiah sees it as perfect at all times. You and infinite more see it as imperfect, and that is the reason he is the guide of all that is. People talk but never make a point. The real point, the dot on the I. Well, thank you very much for the comment. I would like to answer that by saying the Urantia book absolutely makes the point. It is the following. Evil is relatively real. Imperfection is relatively real. The key word, relatively. On ultimate levels, on absolute levels, on paradise, Master Sophia Christ, you are 100% correct. Everything is perfect. But then as we descend down to these time-space evolutionary universes, these worlds that evolved from matter colliding in space, the garbage of the universe, these animals that evolved up into humans are experiencing a level of relative imperfection. It is not the fundamental truth of the universe. So it's good to understand these two different levels of truth. One is this absolute universal truth. Two is relative truth, relative to your vantage point in time and space. And this was a creation by the divine, an evolutionary phase of the universe. The pre-existing phases of the universe were created in perfection. And I believe that's what Master Sophia Christ is talking about. This phase of the universe age is about evolutionary, and it is about the experience of evolving animal origin imperfect beings up to the level of divine through their own free will choice, with the help of many spiritual guides, angelic beings, none more important than your fragment of divinity, your fragment of God that exists within you as your own perfect guide. So let's talk about the page in the Urantia book which Sophia is talking about. This is in the foreword on page 3. It says, divinity may be perfect, complete, as on existential and creator levels of paradise perfection. It may be imperfect, as on experiential and creature levels of time-space evolution. Or it may be relative, neither perfect nor imperfect, as on certain Havona levels of existential experiential relationships. So it says right there, it may be imperfect on experiential and creature levels of time-space evolution. And that is what we are right now. Nothing is more important than our status sphere. So this is a sphere where if you open up the newspaper, you will see that there's war happening, there's victims, there's people deciding that. And I don't even, in fact, I'm not going to stop right there. I don't want to get into it. You know about it. We cannot call that godly. That is a disservice to the universe, the spiritual community. That is a disservice to the divine to look at that suffering and say, that's godly, that's perfect. We can, however, say that God has that accounted for in the wisdom, and nothing will be lost or wasted in a spiritual universe on a spiritual level. Those souls that were a victim of a bombing or a school shooting, they will go on. They will be reunited with their families eventually. But why do we need to wait until the afterlife in order to have perfection? we can make the higher choice. This is evolution towards the divine, both on an individual level and a collective level. Individually, it doesn't matter if the whole world is a cosmic prison world, which it is. We can then still rise in our own spiritual progress, one decision at a time, one moment at a time. But in doing so, if we were all to make those decisions from our higher nature, not our lower nature, then we would evolve this planet towards a world of peace and harmony and a world of godliness. We could level it up to that stage. It's possible if we choose our free will towards the divine. That is not the reality, the relative reality right now. That is not the relative truth right now. Right now, we're experiencing very, very tough situations and circumstances. So we don't want to take the ideas that we have learned from our religions, such as Hinduism and Buddhism, where we have experienced, the seers of old had penetrated into these great spiritual levels and have seen glimpses of non-duality. They've seen the ultimate. They've seen perfection and all. And they can then filter that into their own experience. That is a transcendent experience. Not all of us are there. Hopefully, Master Sophia Christ is there. I'm not there. Many of us are not there. And so we're dealing with this relative level of life. So we don't want to take that and then start to do mental gymnastics where we now need to make it so that having a school shooting is perfect and call that perfect. That's not perfect. And it happens, I see it in the New Age or various, it doesn't matter what they're really. I'm not trying to, point out anybody's religion or anything. I'm just saying what I experience is people say, well, that's that person's karma because they were a murderer in a past life. So if they died as a 5-year-old in a school shooting, well, hey, that's perfect. I really wish that I could have everybody read the Urantia book, and that's why I'm making these videos, because you'll see, no, you're not going to say that to the parent of a school shooting. It's not perfect. We can change. If you have that attitude, then you don't need to change anything about yourself. You don't need to change anything about the world. It's some sort of passive, I don't know. It's too passive. And it's going to perpetuate this scheme of victimhood that's happening, and we don't want that. We want to evolve the world towards truth, beauty, and goodness. That's not beautiful and it's not good. So I would just like to point that out. There's a divine over control of this planet. So the gods are not up there shaking their heads saying, oh, what did we do? We didn't know this was going to happen. We didn't know there was going to be school shootings, blah, blah, blah. There's a line in the book that says, as soon as you create animal evolutionary origin beings with the free will to choose, you immediately depart from the smooth functioning of things. We're imperfect beings. And so that is known that we are going to depart from the smooth functioning of these ultimate and paradisiacal universes. And so it's all accounted for. It's all good because on the ultimate level, at spiritual levels, those souls will continue to go on and nothing is lost or wasted. But don't deny the relative level. So thanks again for the comment, Master Sophia Christ. I hope I synthesized that. And it's not me that synthesized that. I'm just using the teachings from the Urantia book.